Hey, hi everybody. How's everyone doing tonight? Today is still Sunday, or I should say today is Sunday, and it is October 16th. Yes, October 16th, 2022. It is approximately, I don't know, maybe about uh, 2000 hours, 2000 or 2030, about 8:30. I switched my iPhone to military time just for fun. Anyways, I want to say this video. Uh, I want to make this a thank you video. I want to give a give thank you, a big shout out, and give thanks to my queen. And my queen is obviously is how I'm going to differentiate the two queens of my life. There's my queen, and then there's the queen. So McQueen sent me a video where she's saying that she sincerely prays for me, so that I may be forgiven for my sins. According to the scripture, which a lot of you may not believe in, and that's okay, it says that we are all sinners. I have my own opinion on that because once you label someone something, I believe that on its own is something that is not right in my IMO. Human beings are human beings, and we just are. And since we're built in the image of love, that means that love, the essence of love, the spirit of love is within us. Therefore, we are just like love is. But once you start labeling people and saying that they're sinners and saying that they are doing wrong and they need to make right, it starts to create what's called a caste system, which in India is very popular. Over there, a lot. I want to give a shout out to all my Indian viewers. I've seen in the analytics that I have quite a few of you. To be honest, I did mention India once in one of my videos. I think I might have said that that's one country that I would not want to go to, unless of course I learn your language. If I learn your language out of respect, I would like to visit so I could get to learn your culture better. But without that, it would be too much of a language barrier in order to communicate with the locals. Anyways, so my queen sent me a message saying that she prays that the Almighty, or the higher power, whatever you want to call, because hallowed be thy name. Therefore, even us mere mortals cannot even comprehend not just the essence of the higher power, but just the higher power can't even have a name. IMO, it's too great. It's too great of a spirit. It's too great of a force, to be able to be labeled something. Just like I said, labeling human beings. But nonetheless, I am very grateful for the thought of my queen praying for me that my sins be forgiven. Again, I'll mention it again, that sins is a label that was created, IMO, by the church. And the church in itself, even though it's a non-profit, it's still a corporation in IMO. I know I talk a lot about corporations, and the fact is because they're the ones who run the world, in case you're wondering. It's not the people. Sorry. There are people who work for the corporations. In other words, they're in the pocket of the corporations, and they make sure that they're present when it's time to vote, so that their voices are heard, so that whatever the outcome of an election is, it will be to their best interest. And this is something we already know. I'd like to give a shout out to Second Thought. I think I learned how to give shout outs to channels now in my description. So as soon as I'm done with this video, I'm gonna check that out so I can do that, because that's one channel that I've learned a lot from about, socialism and a democratic socialist government. And whether we realize it or not, we're already living in a semi-socialist government. One of the things that kind of gets me upset is how the U.S. created an embargo on Cuba about 50 odd years ago after Castro took over. Why would they create an embargo on a tiny country island? I'll tell you why. Because they can't get their corporations into that country. You see what I'm talking about? Corporations running the world. And because of that, now this huge country, which is number one in the world in GDP, according to the sources that I see. Of course, you can't ever trust anything you see on camera. You got to always have your doubts and double check everything. But ever since then, I think the U.S. and Israel, since the U.S. is a big supporter of Israel, have put an embargo on the tiny island of Cuba. But since then, Cuba has thrived. I've never been there. I'm not Cuban, but I'll tell you one thing. If you want to be a doctor in Cuba, by the time you're done, you're not going to have any student debt. That's a plus. You get sick, you have to go to the hospital. By the time you check out of the hospital, you're not gonna be in debt for thousands, if not tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. Okay. Now, yeah, maybe they don't have all the modern things that we have here in this world, but let's take a moment to think about all of the modernization that we have and how it's affected our lifestyles and our way of life. Let's just take, for instance, one thing, the car, right? Cars, after Henry Ford developed the assembly line, cars became a modern staple of life. So then a lot of roads started to being built, and then after that, Eisenhower signed the act so that the Interstate Highway it's called the Interstate Highway Act, if I remember correctly. The main reason for that was for military, for defensive purposes, in case we ever have to get convoys or supplies from one place to another. Another thing too, if a plane needs to land, they can also land in highways if need be in a time of a crisis. Which, don't get me wrong, all of these things are wonderful. They're wonderful innovations that human beings, all of us together using our brains, have been able to, with our accumulative brain power, we've been able to progress and we've been able to advance as a species. But we should take a moment to try to stop and think about what that progression has brought to us. Like I mentioned the other day, the new epidemic, which is not talked about, and they're not going to talk about it because of the fact that if they do, well, I'll tell you right now, because like I said, since the corporations run the world, this is a fact that you're not going to hear about, and that's called the loneliness epidemic. Now, if that were to be the big headlines, a lot of people might end up turning off their screens. And these big corporations that run the world, a good part of them depend on these screens, depend on what I'm me right now, just talking into this device, this little thing made in China, developed in California. But yeah, I'm a part of it. I participated. I followed a suggestion, which brings me to my next point. Here's a little segue. A thought is the thought that matters. I always say that to everyone. Sometimes people aren't in a position to help you out. Like, let's say maybe you need a couple dollars, for whatever reason, and you're broke, because and right now that's how it is here. A lot of us are living from day to day, not just in a, in a lifestyle way, but also in an economical way. So we have to resort to what we have to resort to. So if you ask someone, hey, you got a couple dollars to spot me, they might say something along the lines, no, I don't, I'm sorry, I had the, whatever, for whatever reason. But at least they gave it the thought, they gave it they gave it thought into helping you, and they realized that they couldn't, and they gave you a reason. And so more important than them even letting you borrow the money, which maybe they weren't able to, was the thought of them being kind enough to let you know the reason why, because it's the thought that counts. Or at least that's what I thought. As of now, it feels like I'm being proved wrong. I don't know. But anyways, I've been working my arse off, asking for donations. So I have some good news. I have the money for my, how do you call it? For my consultation, which is not cheap. Now all I'm missing is just the money for my pharmacy, which hopefully it hasn't gone up yet. And also tomorrow I have to speak to the state, because ever since this damn opioid epidemic that hit the whites, and because it hit the whites, the DEA jumped on it right away. They made a system where you cannot fill until every 28 days. But the problem is that my appointment was always set a few days before I could fill. And my doctor's office, even though I brought a police report, I thought they would be nice enough to fill what was missing. Instead, they filled just a week's supply. And in my opinion, they did that on purpose, because the lady at the front desk said that, oh, we tried to contact you last week Thursday, which was the 6th of October. And not a single time have they tried to contact me and were not able to reach me, either by a text or a voice message. Never, not one time. This is the one time that they were not able to contact me. Was it just random? I don't know. I'm not one to say. I don't want to be on bad terms with them, because they are close to me, and due to the fact that I don't have transportation, that's one of the reasons why I have to go to them. Because in this country, because of all the innovations, when you're poor, you're going to remain poor. So for the rest of my life, unless something happens, maybe I have I create a lifestyle change, and I start visualizing success, and I start working hard towards goals that I need to do. But to be honest, I almost don't want to do it because of two facts. One, automation. Automation is going to take over the world, so the only thing that's going to be available are just IT jobs. And two, because all of that so-called progress, all it's doing, in my opinion, is just creating a larger carbon footprint, which we all know leads to global warming. Whether you want to believe in it or not, there is man-made caused global warming. Yes, the earth does go through its cycles where it warms and it heats, but it's a proven fact that as of the past 100 years, there has been also a rise due to man-made global warming. You guys can look all this stuff up. All of this stuff up is on the internet. Even the big oil companies did a study on this back in the 70s, where they predicted it down to just about a T about how the use of their products, their oil-based products like petrol, is gonna warm the planet up, 1 or 2 degrees Celsius. They had it down to just about, you know, it was like they pretty much predicted it, let's just say. And nonetheless, here we are. It's not our fault. It's just a product of the environment. We're just a product of the environment. But that, I think, is also one of the major causes of my depression. The fact that we don't live in harmony with nature. We really don't. We like a lot of movies have said, and I know this is a cliche, we're more like a virus. We just multiplicate, and we just look for another host to feed on, and then we keep on not multiplicating but duplicating. We keep duplicating, and it kind of makes me sad to think about that. That's why right now, real quick, I want to give a shout out to my friend Dave. You know who you are. You never duplicated. And at first I used to think, you know, it must be kind of sad, but now when I look at it, you know, you're a legend. My aunts, they never duplicated. They're legends too. One of my aunts is actually a saint, Saint Eloisa. So we actually do have a saint in our family. So I am blessed to have known her. It's a real blessing to have known a real saint, a real life saint. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that, I'll leave you now so that you can keep going so you can go on to the next video if you haven't left yet. If you're still here right now, we're hitting 17 minutes. If you're still here, you're a legend. I appreciate you so much, because your views help out the channel. Even if the channel doesn't work out, life will go on. Remember, all this is fake. If you think fake news is fake, this is more real than fake news, but this is still fake. Alright, peoples, I hope that you have a blessed night. I hope that everything goes well for you, and that you sleep well, and that tomorrow might be a better day than today, or that today you learn something so that you can apply it tomorrow, so that you can make tomorrow a better day. Now, with that being said, let me end my video the way that I always do, looking up at our night sky, which I could see a single star, but I don't know if this camera will be able to catch it. No, that looks like a plane. Yeah, I think there's a plane right up there. That's a plane. That's too bright to be a star. But that right up there, wait, can it catch it? No. There are as soon as the floor light turns on, it's too much light for any stars to be seen. I don't see the moon. I do see a couple of stars up there. I'm gonna give it a second. It's already been this long. If you've been here already this long, hopefully you stick around just maybe a couple more, maybe another 30, 60, 90 more seconds. I don't know how long the flow light stays on, just so that maybe I can catch a glimpse of a star. I see something behind me, but that is a light post. I can just tell by looking at it. That's not the moon. Yep, that's a light post. And that's one of the innovations that we've made, the progress that we've made, so that people can drive their vehicles at nighttime without getting into accidents, to go to their respective places. If it's to work, respect. If it's to just have fun, I hope you have fun. But everything comes at a price. It really does. So everything that we do on our day-to-day activities, eventually we might not pay for it. Maybe not our children. It possibly could be our children. I read a good book by a doctor that I used to see. All right, let's see if we can see any stars. That right there, is that a star? That still looks like the plane. I'm panning out slowly, but I don't think there's enough. The floodlight turned on again, so that's it. And I don't see the moon tonight, so I'm gonna give up on that. All right, ladies and gents, have a good night. Be blessed. Thank you for watching.